Where's Will?
One of the many wonders of the greenhouse is this caudic-form vine that comes from South Africa, where it's known as breadfruit, because this big base down here is actually edible. Unfortunately, we're not going to try and eat this because they're pretty hard to come by. And right now, it's just broken dormancy, and it's growing like crazy up this string. Isn't this cool? I really, really want to know what that tastes like, but it took a long time to find one of those, so I guess it's not going to happen. My dad and I are getting a good laugh out of this. Apparently there's residual stuff about me in the paper here. It says, Lizard's Revenge. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife is investigating Big Sur survivalist Tyson Curtis, who kills and eats a variety of wild animals for possible violations. Officials aren't sure if or when charges might be filed. And this week's wild green is Purlsane, which if you have a garden, you probably have Purlsane. It's kind of like a mildly invasive weed, and it really takes off. The leaves are very succulent, almost like some kind of ice plant. And if you crush it, it actually feels like slimy. Here's my Purlsane salad. Let's try a little bit here. Definitely slimy, but it's nice and crunchy, and it has a good flavor. Subtle, mild flavor. I think it's gonna be pretty good in my salad, and grows like a weed, so if you get a little bit in your garden, you can eat a whole lot of it, and it just keeps coming back. Wow, check that out. It's a little fox. Hey buddy. Chiller. I would like to voice my frustration with deer. Deer freaking suck in the garden. They came out here to get some tomatoes, and all of my tomato plants have been decapitated. And it is bow season. So I suppose I'm gonna have to try out my archery skills and get up early tomorrow morning and see if he comes back for seconds. It appears there's no deer in my garden. Maybe they're here last night. Or earlier this morning. Indisputable proof of a deer presence in my garden. Here you can also see that the deer has stripped pretty much everything it could reach off my apple tree. Deer's going down. As long as it's a male, legally huntable deer. This plant here with the white flowers that we have is Yarrow. This is actually Yarrow that I collected seeds from the wild. It grows naturally here in Big Sur and planted in the garden. Yarrow is easy to identify because it has alternating, really finely desiccated leaves. It's really strongly aromatic. Some people say it smells like mothballs. I have this plant in the garden actually to attract beneficial insects, which a lot of plants that have open, flat flowers do, because the insects can land there really easily and get the pollen. Besides that, Yarrow is obviously pretty, and it's used in a lot of medicinal uses, mostly with colds. It acts as an expectorant and analgesic, and it promotes sweating, which is interesting. If you rub the fresh leaves on your skin, it will actually act as an insect repellent. Good news from the greenhouse. Those flowers I showed you earlier did pollinate, and I got more coffee beans coming in. We'll see if I get more coffee before the end of sap. That'd be nice. These plants right here are actually turmeric, which is also a rhizome that I just bought in the store and put in the ground. This one's actually flowering. Look at that flower, it's amazing. There you go. There's our turmeric. Pretty cool. Let's try just a little bit raw. Oh, wow. That's like got the intensity of ginger with a slight gingery taste, but like very, very earthy. Well, I've been kicking myself for not documenting the eating of the Big Sur yucca flowers while they were blooming. And that said, I actually saw one way up on this hill above the ranch the other day. One last one that's still in bloom, so I think we're gonna try and go out there and get some flowers today. Just gonna fry up these 3 ingredients, add them to my eggs, and then add to the tomatoes last. A lot of the sources said that these yucca flowers are good with eggs, so let's try this. I would say there's only a very slight hint of yucca flavor. It does add a little bit to the texture. It's not crunchy like it was, but it's nice and firm. It's kind of overwhelmed by the other flavors. So I guess that's a neutral. Getting food, not really adding to the cuisine. Much more interesting when it's fresh. Maybe we'll try something else with the rest of the flowers. I have a feeling my yucca flowers would probably make pretty good pesto. Obviously, pesto keeps coming up. I guess that's what happens when you have a lot of olive oil and very little of anything else. Wow, that smells amazing with the yucca flowers combined with the basil and the garlic. Whew. I think that's a much better use for our flowers. It's like a milder, very subtle pesto. Wow, okay. Then the yucca flowers come in at the end like boom, big time. Wow, that's crazy. On the front I get like the walnuts and the garlic, and then on the end is like a big bang of floral yucca, which it's descriptive, I can't describe it, but it's a very unique, very pungent, very strong flavor that's very fresh and floral. It's really good. Nah.